Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, welcome to another market open stream. Today is absolutely vital, and I'm going to tell you why. But so far, we are having a pretty good Bitcoin move. I'd say a decent pump, but a bigger one may be coming later today. So, let's talk about why Bitcoin moved, what to expect, and everything else that's going on in the world today. All right, let's do it. Welcome, guys. Look at that. Look at that V-shaped recovery or U-shaped recovery. That is what we just experienced ever since the CPI reading came out. Okay, so we actually fell to a low of 66,000 yesterday, and now we're back to 69,000, right? But we're not fully back yet. We're not back to 70,000, 71,000, but we certainly could be after this afternoon, right? We will see. But first things first, the U.S. market is looking very, very, very green today. That is fantastic. And that's because CPI inflation reading came out versus expected 3.4%. We actually came in lower, okay? 3.3%. Now, all the economists, all the banks were making predictions, and almost every single one predicted that inflation ticked up. But somehow, no, we didn't tick up, and we're at 3.3%. Now, I know since the last CPI reading, they started removing like categories. I remember they removed coffee. I don't know if they removed anything else, but it almost seems like this was planned. Like you knew that inflation numbers had to be lower, because if this was higher, it's going to upset a lot of things that are moving in motion. For example, rate cuts. Like if the inflation continues to go higher, there's no way Powell can do rate cuts, right? But now it's like, okay, it's a green flag. Go ahead and do it. Right? That's what this is showing. So obviously this is good. Everyone, everyone in the U.S. Expected something higher. We got something lower, and that means inflation supposedly is coming down, and inflation's coming down. That's good all around. That means there's price stability. That means rate cuts can be allowed, and overall, everyone's going to make a lot of money. That's what it's signaling. But what does Powell really think, right? There is going to be a FOMC meeting that's going to happen. I believe it's usually 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2:30 Eastern Standard Time, and there will be a press release or a press statement released 30 minutes before. And basically, he's going to run through the press statement and say whether or not there's going to be a rate cut. And then there's a press conference, and then, the reporters grill him, and we'll see what he says. Not sure if I'm going to stream it or not. Maybe, maybe not. Depends. But right now, the prediction is 99.9% chance that there will be no rate cut today. Okay, 0.1%. Can Powell shock the markets and say, screw all you guys with your predictions? I'm going to announce the very first rate cut since 2020 today. If he does that, okay, Dow will be plus 2,000. NASDAQ will be like plus 600. And Bitcoin will be at 75,000. If that happens, today will be insane. But there's a 99.9% chance that doesn't happen. So we'll see. We will see. So that is what's happening right now and what will happen later today. And again, that's only like 4 hours, 5 hours from now. That's before market closing, and we will see what he says, right? But in the meantime, what else is going on with Bitcoin? Well, I mean, you guys know Bitcoin is the best, right? Even billionaire investor Bill Miller says the same thing. Bitcoin's value is many multiples above its current price. We know that. When you factor in how you can't artificially inflate it, how there is a set supply, how it's not controlled by any Federal Reserve or central bank around the world, you can't apply monetary policy, you can't do quantitative tightening or easing. It is simply the best. It has all the inherent goodness of gold, yet none of the bad. It is the best asset that we have today. That is why its value is multiples, many multiples above where it is right now. That's why at the end of the cycle, Bitcoin could be at 200, 300, 400, 500,000. And these hedge funds also, hedge funds, institutions, they all believe that too. So you could see these are the top 80 holders of Bitcoin ETFs. Some of these guys are holding billions. Millennium Management, almost 2 billion. Susquehanna International, 1.3 billion. Horizon Kinetics, about $1 billion. Jane Street, more than $500 million, right? Even some of the largest institutions on the planet, they also believe what Bill Miller says and what MicroStrategy, or I should say Michael Saylor, have said. And they are loading up. This is why the ETF inflows are so massive, even though yesterday I believe we had an outflow. I don't actually have the number. But overall, within 3 months' time, we have like $80 billion worth of Bitcoin being bought by the institutions. People recognize this. People now know Bitcoin. Even kids know Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not a taboo thing anymore, okay? It's not like it's not an asset like years before where many people had no clue what it is. This cycle is different because now everyone knows what it is. Everyone has heard of it. Whether they have invested in it is a different story. But we are now mainstream. Bitcoin is definitely mainstream, and it's not just the US, worldwide, wherever you go, people know of Bitcoin and more are turning to it, right? And here's the kicker. The fundamentals of Bitcoin continues to grow stronger, not just from a price perspective, right? Obviously, we know that price goes up and it keeps on going up, and nothing has outperformed Bitcoin in the last 5, 10, 15 years. We know that. But what's the underlying reason, I guess, right? Why does Bitcoin keep going up? Why do so many people want it, right? Well, there's many reasons. But if you're measuring truly why Bitcoin's price go up, it's really just supply and demand, right? All the demand, we're hearing about it every day around the world. All the demand keeps going up and the supply keeps going down. Here's actually pretty shocking. I don't think anyone paid attention to this, but Coinbase yesterday had a massive minus 14,000 Bitcoin outflow. And the last 30 days, minus 38,000. And that's not even the biggest number. If you look at Kraken had a minus 54,000 Bitcoin in the last 30 days. Gemini minus 8,500. OKX minus 7,400. I mean, almost everything is in the red except Bitfinex. And I think Bitfinex got an inflow because people are trying to leverage trade. But man, if you look at what's happening, the exchanges are losing their Bitcoin at an astronomical rate. Why? Because people want to load up, right? Despite the price drop in the last few days, you could see Coinbase still had a minus 14,000 because these big boys continue to buy. They don't stop. This is why I keep telling you guys, do not worry about short-term volatility. Focus on long-term gains. Short-term, anything can happen. Any bad news could drive Bitcoin down. But ultimately, it always picks itself back up and continues forward and forms a new high every single cycle, right? But this is actually alarming if you think about what's actually happening behind the scenes. You have massive amount of buying and the supply is diminishing greatly every single month. It's really that simple. That's really all you have to worry about, even though there are so many good things about Bitcoin's fundamentals and we see that every single day with all these charts and everything and metrics and stats that I'm showing you guys. But the most important thing would have to be, how much supply is being eaten up. Because when you have an asset that just has a set supply, that's important. If you have an asset or something like fiat, which really isn't an asset, but let's just say fiat that has an infinite supply and more can be printed at any time, well, that's not that valuable and will get less valuable with more time, right? But when you have something that has a set supply and you can't just create more out of thin air, that is much more valuable, right? All right, well, yeah, so here's another example. There's endless metrics that show that reserves are dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping more. So ultimately, just pay attention to that. Now, as for the FOMC meeting, here's an interesting thing. The last four that we had, okay, the last four, they were great for Bitcoin. Very, very great. In fact, you can look at it. Going all the way back to 2023, December, we had a 22% climb after the FOMC meeting. Then January 2024, 26%. Then March 2024, a 19.7%. Then a 27.8%. And if today we have another great FOMC meeting and Bitcoin starts going up and maybe it really starts rallying tomorrow and Friday, and we get that 20%, we will be at that coveted 80,000 mark that we have been talking about for quite some time. A lot of charts show 80,000 plus is the next level. And once we break through this pesky 73,000, we will be at 80,000 in no time. And we might not stop at 80,000. We could keep on going to 90,000 too, because there's just nothing up there. There's nothing stopping Bitcoin beyond 80,000. Okay, but we will see. We will see. Normally speaking, it's hard to tell, but during the day of FOMC meeting, Bitcoin actually goes down, but then the day afterwards and the weeks afterwards, it starts rising, right? So we may see something like that today too, but who knows? Maybe Powell cuts the Fed fund rate today, and then, we get an explosion and everything just goes upwards. But unless he says something really, really damning today, very hawkish, and says, well, we're not going to do rates this year, something like that. Or we're going to cut our 3 rate cuts to 1, and that's not going to come until end of the year, or something like that. Unless he says something really bad like that, I think the markets are still going to go up, especially starting from tomorrow. Thursday and Friday could be absolutely fantastic, and Bitcoin could just keep on going up. We are at that point, right? We've been going sideways for way too long. I take that back. It's not way too long, but for a long time, 3 months now, we are getting ready to break higher. Inverse head and shoulders pattern, according to FOMC meetings, it's looking like it. It's looking like it. We are at the right shoulder. Are we go break higher? Quite possibly. But ultimately, this is the path that we're moving, right? We are going higher and higher and higher and higher. But here's an indicator that, let me remove my camera here. This is the BBWP indicator. And for the first time in history, there's 4 blue bars. This has never, ever, ever happened before. And what is this really showing? Well, according to Mustache, BBWP indicator measures volatility. And previous times, even when there was 1 bar or 2 bars, we have seen some massive movements recorded, either in the upwards direction, mostly upwards direction, but we had also had one downward direction too. But right now we have 4 bars, which means the volatility is super, super high. In fact, you can argue we've never been this high in Bitcoin's history. So what does that mean? That means when we are ready to jump higher and jump upwards, it could be absolutely tremendous, right? That's what it means. And lastly, I'll show you this. This is also pretty tremendous. This is Bitcoin's price versus the M1 money supply, okay? And you know what? It was actually, Bitcoin's price was the highest in 2017 versus the M1 money supply. And you might be confused why this is showing that we haven't been able to break out of that level. It's because there's more money, right? The money supply keeps on increasing. So this is really looking at a ratio of Bitcoin's worth versus how much money is out there. So we know that money keeps on printing, and more and more and more came out, especially in 2020, right? That's why if you look at the peak of 2021, and it's not higher than the peak of 2017 because so much more money was printed and given out to people, right? But if you look at what's happening right now, this is the first time since 2017 that Bitcoin's price actually, again, broke above the M1 money supply. And if this continues, that shows you how strong Bitcoin is, and actually indicates that a lot of people are taking their fiat, their money in their savings, and actually utilizing that to buy Bitcoin, which is a fantastic thing because that's the right way to do it. That's how you hedge against inflation. So, fantastic stuff. Okay, outside of Bitcoin, what else is there? MetaMask. MetaMask enables pooled staking for Ethereum holders, so that way you don't have to have 32 ETH to stake. You could just put minimal amounts, and then they will automatically pool it with other people, and then you could stake your ETH, right? I guess that's pretty cool to build that into MetaMask directly. Yeah, that's not bad. But as for ETH, and a lot of people have asked, when is the spot ETH ETF coming out, right? Again, no one knows. Everyone is guessing. It could be the end of this month. It could be next month. It could be a month after that, right? Bitcoin spot ETF seems to have been rushed through really quickly. Ethereum, even though it has been approved, we don't have any ETA right now. But it could be coming right around the corner. And people are also anticipating that, especially Wall Street, because you have whales and Wall Street that are buying enormous amount of ETH right now. Whales bought 240,000 ETH during the recent dip. Yeah, from 39,000 down to 34,000 for ETH, or no, 3,900 to 3,400 ETH. 240,000 ETH were bought by whales, $840 million worth. And you know how I just showed you the massive exodus out of Coinbase for Bitcoin? It's the same thing for ETH. Largest ETH outflow of the year from Coinbase, 336,000 just happened. Again, that means institutions are loading up. They could be seeding. I mean, the funds could be using the ETH to seed their upcoming ETFs, or institutions and whales are just loading up on ETH, waiting for the ETH ETFs to come out and taking advantage of the low prices, right? That's why I always say, buy the dip or DCA, right? Take advantage of the low prices. It's like going to your favorite store and seeing your favorite item being discounted 10, 20, 30, 40%. It's the same thing when it comes to crypto. If you love Bitcoin, if you love Ethereum, you love Solana, whatever you love, and you see it being discounted, well, why would you not buy? You should love it more when it's discounted. That's how you should look at it. All right. Let's do some Q&A. Something wrong with this camera. It's so slow. I'll just use my normal camera here. That's fine. This will be fine. All right. Let's see. Let me scroll up. Let's see if I missed anything. Man, 5,700 people in here. Excited about this turnaround. This FOMC meeting could be enormously great. We'll see. Crypto guy sent a super chat. Recently, I got to know about the chain abstraction concept by a project called Numa Chain. How can we all unify all chains? What's your view on it, and will it be big? I have no idea what Numa Chain is, but I'll look it up because it's not a meme. Numa Chain? It's not even a project. I have no idea what Numa Chain is. It doesn't. It might be a very new project. It doesn't even show up at CMC. And you don't. And to answer your secondary question, how can we unify all chains? You don't need to unify all chains. There's no need for unification of all chains. It's great if they could talk to each other. There's interoperability, and there are bridges being built for that. But you don't need to unify all chains. That's like saying, why don't we unify OS X with, with Android, with Microsoft Windows? You don't need to unify them. Does Filecoin have a lot of competition? Yes, it does. Arweave is another one. Siacoin is another one. Those are pure storage plays. But now you have pure DPIN plays that also has storage, right? So in a way, yeah, they have a lot of competition. Morris Anderson. Morning, George. I DCA into Bitcoin every paycheck since 2021. Now I'm at 70K. I'm not getting very much anymore. I decided to switch back to buying Sol, Stacks, and Bonk. Not a bad combination. Stacks follows Bitcoin, but it's a lot more volatile, moves up and down way quicker than Bitcoin. Sol, I think that's a great idea. And Bonk, I don't know, Bonk is a meme play. I think they could do very well this cycle. What do you think about TMF? Jose asks. There is no TMF. I don't know what TMF is. Yeah, for those of you guys that are tuning in now and you're wondering why Bitcoin went up all of a sudden, it's because the CPI inflation came in lower than expected. Some people argue that they're cooking the books to set up rate cuts for this year because of the elections. It could be. That could be the case. We know that there are data now being removed from CPI. They don't track it anymore, and whatever they removed actually helps it go down. But nevertheless, it was good. That's what pumped up Bitcoin. The U.S. market is looking great right now, but ultimately, everyone wants to see what Powell is going to say. Today, Coinbase is up almost 5% today. Nvidia 2%, Microsoft 1%. MSTR is up 5%. So all the Bitcoin stock doing well today. But people want to know, or at least I do, what Powell's going to say. Eduardo says, I'd like to give a shout out during Degens and Diamond Hands at Money B, Stanley Pub. Well, okay. That's great. W Dog, do you low-key want to own a Cybertruck CT? I don't know. I do and I don't. You know, I think it's still cool to have because it's so different. But again, it's just like so many problems. Like this guy who's making all these TikTok videos about a Cybertruck. He's the one that first tested his finger. I just saw that, yeah, his charger stuck in his port and he couldn't drive without it. So there's some like emergency latch thing that you have to open like a panel to pull and then finally unattached. But then he thinks he broke something by doing that. It's like you just hear about so many bad problems with the Cybertruck. If there weren't so many problems, I probably would have got it, but I just hear nothing but problems with it. So I don't know. DJ, what do you believe FTM will be at the peak of this cycle? The Sonic upgrade, that's supposed to be huge, but the Sonic upgrade is actually a new chain. It's actually not converting the existing chain. So I believe they will have dual tokens unless they just somehow retire the old chain. So it's a brand new chain, a new token. I don't know the conversion, how you're going to get airdropped if you hold FTM. So I guess we'll have to see. W Dog, buy a Cybertruck. Well, I just gave you my answer. Why I didn't buy one. Whale Smoke. Ryujin and Omi Kami getting stronger every day. I have no idea about those coins. No idea. Silky's asking, Andrew Tate and Sim will fight in Dubai in December. Thoughts? Yeah, it's not going to be in Dubai. Tate can't leave Romania, so any fight will have to be in Romania. But I did finally look at all the back and forth. I would say in Sim was like destroying Tate. Tate really is out of his element. But still, you know, the two can't fight. And Sim, you know, he's proven he's not a fighter. Tate was a world champion kickboxer, so a fight wouldn't be fair at all. But love to see it. Love to see them fight in karate combat, in the Influencer Fight Club. But anything, you know, it would have to be in Romania. That's the only way it could happen. Jonathan is asking, George, doesn't rate cuts usually lead to a downtrend in the immediate time frame and then months later to pump? No, that's not how it is. Rate cuts lead to a media pump. There is no downtrend. If you're looking at maybe years ago prior to COVID, maybe that's how it was before, but not now. Everyone, with our elevated inflation, elevated rate, everyone wants to see that rate go down. Everyone. Okay. So if there's any indication that it's coming or it comes, it's going to pump all markets crazily. John is like, I don't want to go to Romania. We should not do that. I don't know. What's wrong with Romania? I don't know if I want to go to Romania too. I feel like we would just disappear if we went to Romania. But if Tate is there and he hasn't disappeared, I guess it can't be all that bad. Phantom is a 1-to-1 ratio, and they have stated that. What's your price prediction? I don't know. Just look at how high they were before. They're still very off from their previous high. Oh, this is cool. Token unlocks. Now CMC shows you when the unlock schedule is. Hey, that's actually really, really cool. Really cool. But thankfully for Phantom, there's no more unlocks. You know, CMC is just getting better. I'm glad to see they are getting better. They're adding a whole bunch of stuff in here. That's actually pretty cool. Anyways, all time, you could see they were above $3, so they're nowhere close to that. So at the very least, they'll hit $3, and I think they have the potential to go more. But I don't know how much more. Before, I used to think that, you know what, this cycle, with as much money coming in, almost all these L1s, L2s will at least hit their previous high and do a multiple from that point. Like, for example, maybe Phantom could do a 2 or 3x after hitting $3, putting it at $8, $9, something like that. But here's the reality. Memes are getting stronger, and there are so many more L1s, L2s now with tokens. So I'm not sure that thesis actually holds up anymore. But I do think at the very least, it could go back to its previous high. Looney on Sol, this market cap chart. Not tracked. Can't really see it. Can Pepe surpass Doge market cap? Is there a chance? Yes. Is it likely? Probably not. It's 5.7 billion. That's not shabby. It was at 7 billion at one point in time, right? I love this. Kind of like this. I love it. Where it shows, like, you know, some of the stuff that they've done. Anyways, can they surpass Doge? I mean, they're 4x away. They could, but is it likely? No, I don't think so. Rip Jerry West. Jerry West? Jerry West passed away. Yeah, this camera has no blur. Maybe with the compression there's blur. But, well, sorry to see Jerry West go if that's real. I don't know if you're just making that up or that's real. But he's been an absolute legend in this space. Number one meme this bull run. I can't tell you. Gee, I think you're saying top 20, who will not make all-time high this cycle? For certain, I know XRP won't. But everything else, Bitcoin Cash won't. I'm not sure Polygon and, like, say, Polkadot, Tron, like, I don't know if they will do it. Maybe they can, but some of them are still very far off. Litecoin's not going to do it. There are a lot that are not going to do it. Thoughts on Fetch AI merger delays? It's delayed a month. Who cares? If you could land a tape file or solidify your role as a crypto data white, I would love to have. I would love to be able to do that, but I think I'm too small to make that happen. But you know what? If I can help in any way, I will try. But that is just, you know, that's next level. But maybe in 2025. I will say I can't share a lot of details, but in 2025 there'll be some major changes happening to the IFC for sure. Really good ones. There'll be more fights and other things that are being developed, let's say. I'm really excited about it. Can you chart Cadena's future to zero, please? Cadena's at 204 million. All time, man, you know, 20 something dollars. It has to do, what, a 30x to get back, you know, 25x to get back to its previous high. I just don't think it could do it. They lost all momentum. Will Smoke, you talk in depth about fights, cars, Tate, but I asked about crypto in the Q&A, and you just read my message and say, I don't know, because I don't know. I talk about things I know. I can't talk about things I don't know, man. It's like me asking you, tell me about, I don't know, the biology of jellyfish. Do you know? If you don't know, what are you supposed to say? You say, I don't know. Like, if you ask me about some random shitcoin I don't know, I'm going to say, I don't know. It's like, what else do you want me to say? You want me to make it up? It's a shitcoin. It sucks. Get away from it. Okay, that's my answer. Let's see. What time is the meeting? I'm pretty sure it's 1:30 Central Standard Time. 2:30 Eastern Time. But then 30 minutes before, there will be like a press release of basically what he's going to do. No rate cut, you know. Doc Denzel Joe says, that's right, George. I'm a doctor. If I don't know, I don't know. I mean, you can't, we all have limitations. If it's interesting, then I'll look it up. But if it's like, if it's like some random meme, no need for that. As for Bitcoin's price, holding pretty well. Basically, this was wiped out, right? But again, we need to jump back up here. We were very, very close. I believe the last time I saw the liquidation, not the liquidation, so the shorts, the short volume, to go back to even 71, I think there was like 1.4 billion worth of short contracts. And to break into 74,000, we have like 14 billion worth of contracts. I mean, if we get up there and we get that short squeeze, we're going to be in 80s. We're going to be up here like in no time. How do you... I mean, we're like really... We're getting ready. Next stop. I can't even put a line because I don't know where the next stop will be. I just think it's going to be 80. Somewhere around here. If I had to guess... If we have like surprise rate cut and we have a tremendous pump, I think we'll probably just be like right up here. So if I had to guess, it'll be, it'll be like this from this level. I don't even know what the percentage of that is. Let's just look at it. Price range from here to here. Man, that was a 40% jump. That was crazy. So if we get something like that again from where we are now, and we have a 40%, man, it doesn't even go up that high. Well, there we go. If we have the same kind of bump that we had from March, from March of this year, which is a 44% climb. 44% climb from here is $100,000. I'm not so sure we're going to go to 100,000 that quickly, but you know what? Building up to it in the next few months, that could certainly happen. George, 599 GTO for 167K or 458 for 196, similar mileage. What do you think would be more desirable in the future? Definitely a 458. 599 is, it's like Ferrari has these like front engine cars. I don't know what you call it, but they're more like a cruiser, you know, just like the 812 Superfast and stuff. They're just not as appealing as the mid-engine cars. 458 is going to be a classic forever because it's the last natural aspirated V8. It sounds terrific. It's still modern. It's still fast. Has the dual clutch transmission. The 458, you know, I think is going to hold its value. Have you heard of Bioeconomy crypto exchange? No. No. Carlos says, is it possible to expect a return back to the 50K range before the real next leg up? No. If I had to give a percentage of that, it would be pretty low. Very, very low. I don't know, less than 10%. I just don't see that. Command Dante Marco Command. I can't pronounce that. Thank you for a super chat. Humule deserves a closer look. Vitalik's cat. First of all, it's a horrible name. And second of all, let's see. That's not. I don't think it deserves a closer look. That chart looks horrendous. Looks like everyone has exited. That's not. Certainly not one that deserves a second look. Whale smell. So what do you think about jellyfish? Would you get one? And would you eat one, more importantly? And what do you think about holding jellyfish as an investment going forward? Do you think it's better to hold 10 jellyfish versus, say, 3 cows? Well, it seems like we're holding here for now until we get this FOMC meeting. But you know what? The good thing is everything's going up today. Everything is going up. I got some stocks listed here. MicroStrategy, look at that big jump upward, 7% today. You got Coinbase doing a big jump, 5% today. Nvidia and AI doing another 4% jump, probably all-time high. Robinhood, jump. I actually think I started playing some options. I think I might buy some Robinhood options. I think Robinhood, now that they're going like fully into crypto, I think they could do very well. But FET also big 11% jump today. They dipped down really, really low. And yeah, everything's up today, so it's good. Bitcoin is up, obviously. We could see 70,000 plus before the FOMC meeting, and then it'll be really, really interesting. Yasleen, I don't know if I'm going to be streaming during the Fed meeting. I did it in the last one. I mean, I just don't want to sit through those questions. It's like the same questions being asked over and over and over and over and over again, nonstop. I don't know. I may, if I'm really bored, I have nothing to do. I may do that. Adrian, appreciate that. Folsom, Tesla's still down from all-time high. I think Tesla's gonna be struggling for a long time. I just don't see Tesla doing well in the near future. They have to perfect something. They have to perfect their Optimus robot or perfect FSD, which has been a pipe dream for a decade. I don't know. We got to hear some good news about Cybertrucks and deliveries, because right now it seems like a lot of people are refusing delivery of their Cybertruck. More and more people are being asked to buy the Foundation series, even though it's supposed to be a very limited exclusive thing, but it's being offered to everyone. So that tells you the demand is not there. I don't know. And Elon is still doing Elon things. You know, Tesla spies on people too, right? Tesla has a camera, it's vision, it records everything that you do, blah, blah, blah. You know, all companies do it. All tech companies do it. And then, you know, somehow when Apple integrates OpenAI, he's like, oh, no, they're going to spy on me, so I'm going to ban Apple devices on my company. So I'm like, come on, give me a break. That's just being a hypocrite, okay? Teslas do the same thing. Teslas have been recording people's driving for over a decade, and now they have a camera inside, and they look at you too. And, you know, it's like, I don't know. It just seems like everything Elon does it's just bad press these days. Before he was like godlike, and now he just like lost that stature. I guess for SpaceX, it's still no one's complaining about SpaceX other than the flat earthers saying that all these, you know, rocket missions and stuff are fake. But, you know, it seems like SpaceX is still doing good. But Tesla itself, I hear nothing but bad things recently. Billy Goat says, all lies. I love my Cybertruck. Well, I'm glad. And I hope you don't experience any problems. All right, guys. Ooh, Bitcoin is going higher. 69.7. If we have a good week this week, then I guess my Sunday walk video is still not wrong. You know, I had three consecutive Sunday walk videos where they were dead accurate. But this last Sunday, I misremembered the dates. I thought the FOMC meeting was next week, not this week. And I said, I think this week we test, you know, that 71.5 again, and we could possibly break higher. It seemed like it was wrong because we just fell down here and here, but still, hey, it could still happen. We still have time. We'll see. All right, guys, smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. Maybe I'll stream the FOMC meeting, maybe not, but stay tuned anyways. That's why you want to subscribe. And regardless, if I do or I don't, I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.